All right, we are live. We're live everywhere but LinkedIn. I click the go live button in this program called StreamYard, and we go live on the Remodelers community and some other places. I had a little notification that LinkedIn didn't work, but now it is. So hello to you, LinkedIn viewers. Coming to you live from the house today versus the business headquarters, working from home the last few days. And I hope you guys are well. I just got off the phone with my wife and I said, hey, I got to go. I got to get on the Remodelers on the Rise live show. And she said, what are you going to talk about today? And I said, one, I'm in a weird mood, a little different mood. Two, I didn't necessarily prepare a lot for the conversation today. I do have some. So I'm hoping for a little bit of back and forth on the comments and get some questions from you guys as well. The reason I'm kind of in a weird mood is, being a remodeler is hard work. Yeah. You guys work hard. Yeah. But being a coach, whoo, you want to see something hard, become a coach. I say that almost tongue in cheek because I feel like I got a lot easier than you guys. You guys are working your faces off or dealing with a lot of different things. But today's been a little bit of a doozy of a day. And without being, privy to any details, there's a lot of people that are just stressed and overwhelmed right now. That things aren't going as smoothly as they'd like. The COVID aspect of things and the limitations that offers and the complexity that brings to the business is wearisome and burdensome. Up north, winter is setting in, cold, that has an impact, and it's busy. So I kind of wanted just to start out by just kind of saying, make sure you're taking time for your mental health just as much as you are taking time for your business health. Make sure you're taking time for your physical health. The business stuff sometimes can wait. If you are totally out of balance and feeling overwhelmed, something's got to be tweaked. Something's got to change. So kind of keep that in mind. It's different for everybody, but making sure we're slowing down enough to realize when we're feeling a little burnt out, when we are needing a break, when we are needing to hand off some responsibility to others is an important thing. There have been 2 conversations this week of me encouraging folks to go and just sit down and talk to a therapist, talk to somebody about the challenges that people are experiencing and having. And that's a good thing. I've had a lot of clients over the years that, have gone and gotten some professional help and talked to somebody, and it's been extremely beneficial to them. So take care of yourself. Be aware of your team and if they need a break and if they need help. Have real conversations. So that's a little bit of what's going on in my noggin today. And I hope you are having a good day. How is everybody doing? Any comments? How are you doing? What's a one word on how you're feeling right now? All right, so we got that little tidbit, that little reminder out of the way, and we're going to move on with our handy chime to the next topic. Next thing I wanted to share, I've just got a lot of different quick hitters today. Earlier in the week, I reviewed with a client their 2021 business budget. What's that, Kyle? What that is, my friends, is your plan for the year. But Kyle, I don't have a magic ball. What's the stinking point in creating a business budget? I don't know what's going to come in, what's not going to come in. Some people say that. I say, yes, there is some unknowns, but it is wise to prepare an overall business budget. When you get down into the expenses section of your business budget, those are pretty well known. You can look at what you spent on advertising last year, gas last year, rent, workers' comp, etc. And you can look at each line item and say, okay, that's what I did last year. Let me look at the details. Is that going to go up? Is that going to go down? Is that going to about stay the same? And you can really organize that expenses section. You can take a pretty educated guess at your top line revenue based on what you have on the books already, based on what you've done the last few years. And then based on your cost of goods sold percentage over the years, based on your markup, you can put together a pretty good estimate of what your cost of goods sold is going to come in at. And when you do that, it spits out for you what your net profit is going to look like, how all of these numbers play together. You get a good feel for, wow, if I'm at that level of top line sales, things are going to be tight. Or, wow, if I hit that top line sales and bring it in at that cost of goods sold, I'm going to have a pretty nice year. In the case of this client that I was meeting with earlier in the week, it is incredibly important for them to set up their business budget. It's always important, but this year for them, it's incredibly important. They're opening up a showroom. There's $24,000 just in rent expense, let alone other build out, et cetera, expenses. They're looking to make a hire for the office. They're looking to hire a project manager. There's a lot of investments they're making in the business. They've had a pretty stable business for a number of years, but the amount of revenue that they need to be bringing in and producing, what they need to be selling, and how all these numbers are going to play together, we need to be really clear with that. When you are really clear with your numbers, with your budget, it allows you to proceed confidently. They can be so much more confident in making those investments, in making those hires, when they can see clearly those numbers. Get clear with your numbers. That's something that I wanted to share on the Remodelers on the Rise live show. Not a lot of viewers today, which is fine. I see several of you out there, though. I wouldn't mind getting a little like. I wouldn't mind getting a little comment. There's somebody that's commenting. Time, quote unquote, is often a barrier to people prioritizing their mental health. One good thing from the last year is that it's so much easier to meet with someone virtually. Oftentimes, that's a lot easier to fit into your week/month. It's very true. It's very true. And, she put, he or she, I don't know who posted this, but kind of put time in quotes. Time is often a barrier. Do we lack time? Do we lack time? I think there's some times where we could say, I stinking lack time, Kyle. There's so much demands on my day. But oftentimes, when we use the excuse of, I don't have time to take care of my mental health, I don't have time to take care of my physical health, it's not so much that you don't have the time. It's that you've heard people say this. You know what I'm going to say next. You're not prioritizing your time, right? And it's hard. And it's things a lot of times that we don't necessarily want to spend time on. We finally have some downtime. It'd be nice to just veg out a little bit and just scroll and not do anything, turn on a stupid TV show and have some escape time. But think about that, right? It's not necessarily that we lack time. It's that we are lacking prioritizing. It's true. It's hard, but it's true. All right. Thank you for your comment, my friend. Another item here. Let's see what the next thing is here. This one was related to a conversation I had with a client earlier in the week. I'm just going to use a lot of client examples of things that have happened this week. And they are trying to there we go. I'm back. I don't know what happened there. They're trying to figure out the next hire they're going to bring into the office. They already have 2 people in the office, and they're thinking about bringing in a 3rd person. Their workload is such that they know they have enough work for a 3rd person in the office. But they're not clear, at least they haven't been, with what exactly do we want that person to do. And the exercise they went through is the 2 people that are in the office, they spent some time really listing out all of the different tasks that they currently do. Just opened up a spreadsheet and started putting it in there. And they put the 2 people's names next to it. And some of the things, both of them do a little bit of. So they, like, for example, initial phone call with a new prospect. They put 50% of the time it's this person and 50% of the time it's this person. And they just got really clear with how they're currently using their time and what they're doing. And wouldn't you know it, that by going through that exercise, getting it out of their head, putting it down on paper, they made a 3rd column that said person number 3, and they started thinking through what would be the best things to hand off to this person. What would be the work that we want to take off our plate and hand off to them so that we can focus in other areas? So if you're thinking about, I have people reach out to me fairly regularly about, I'm thinking about, I need help in the office. And that's about as far of a strategic thought as they get. I just need help in the office. I got things for them to do. The more clear you can get with what you're going to hand off to them, one, the clearer you get with a job description, with your job posting, the clearer you can get when you're interviewing somebody. Does this person have the skills that you're looking for? So that exercise was not a complicated exercise. It was pretty straightforward, but wow, did they have so much more clarity on who they're looking to hire at the end of that exercise. So I wanted to share that in case somebody is listening to this. They might be listening to the live show. They might be listening to this in podcast form a month or a year later. Think about doing that. Get clear with what the tasks are. It's going to give you clarity on what you can hand off. And I will share one additional thing related to that. This is a phrase that I've used often over the years. There's $10 an hour work, $100 an hour work, and $1,000 an hour work. Okay. And that doesn't mean that the $10 work, we only pay that person $10, but there's three little buckets there. As business owners, as our business continues to grow, we have to be doing less of that $10 an hour work. And as we continue to grow, even less of that $100 work, so that we can focus on the work that is most valuable for us to be doing in our business. And when you get clear with what you're actually spending your time doing, all of a sudden you see very clearly, wow, I'm doing more $10 work than I realized. And I've now identified that, and I need to hand that off so that I can focus on this more valuable, important work that I, as the business owner, need to be doing. This also works for that right-hand man or woman that you have in your business. They have some $10 work that they can hand off to somebody else. Get clear with that. If you can start identifying that and handing off that $10 work, it's going to help you tremendously. So keep track of what you're doing throughout the day. Put 10, 100, 1,000 next to it. You'll start to get a feel for where your time's being spent and how it could be spent better. Oh, we got a couple likes. Hi, Rob. Hi, John. Good to see you, boys. All right, we're going to move on to the next thing. Whoops, I hit the laughter button. It's not really a laughing day. It's kind of a serious day, people. All right, what's next? What's next? Your stinking sales pipeline. Here's one that can get me fired up. Your sales pipeline. I mean, Kyle, leads are great right now. I've got more work than what I know what to do with. That's excellent. A lot of us are experiencing that. One thing related to that. Do we take our foot off all of our marketing because we're flushed with leads right now? Is it stupid to be staying in touch with your previous clients when you're flushed with leads right now? Is it stupid to be trying some new marketing to see what's working? It is not. When we don't need leads is a great time to be marketing. You can be refining how that works. Maybe you're going to have to learn to qualify your leads more. Maybe, yes, you have a bunch of leads, but you can start turning down work that's kind of ideal but not great so that you can be taking work that's really, really great. You got to have a sales process to qualify. You have to have a sales process, hopefully, to charge for design and development. So that's a little bit of an aside. But secondly, we need to have an organized sales pipeline. There is no reason that I shouldn't be able to come into your business and say, hey, show me your sales pipeline. Who's in your appointment to be set category? Who's in your putting ballpark range together? Who's in your signed design agreement category? Who's in your done proposal for, haven't signed bucket? It does not need to be a complicated system. If you're using Buildertrend or Co-Construct, just use the sales pipeline in there. It's not amazing, but it gets the job done. And set it up where they move from one category to the next. It is an area of your business that can get really clunky and disorganized, but if you can keep it organized, it allows you to follow up a lot more consistently in a lot more timely manner. And it's just easier to follow up because you immediately, boom, I know who I need to follow up with, versus looking at a stack of folders, versus realizing that that list you're looking at is not up to date and complete. And it also just helps your overall closing rate. If you're managing your sales pipeline week in, week out, day in and day out, your closing percentage is going to go up. So that is one of those organize the business things that can sometimes slip under the radar. I helped one of my clients this week really get their sales pipeline organized. So that's what made me think of this. And I wanted to remind you as well. And let me yell at you one time. If your sales pipeline isn't stinking organized, get it stinking organized. Capiche? What does capiche mean anyway? Can somebody comment on what the word capiche means? And I hope it's not a super negative or bad word. Capiche? Okay. Oh, we're getting some viewers up here. All you viewers that are watching this, give me a little like so I know who you are. Go ahead and comment with a question. The Remodelers on the Rise show today is just a little bit of a variety pack of topics. I started with some deep stuff, talking about mental health, talking about taking care of ourselves. We went on to talk about our example of a 2021 business budget and the importance of that. Talked about how we can really get clear with our workload and how we can delegate certain tasks when we get clear with the work that what work we're actually doing, how we can hire more help in the field or in the office, an example. Talked about the sales pipeline. Next up, was this last Tuesday? Last Tuesday I had Ryan England on as a guest. The guy's wicked smart. You guys know what movie that's from? Good Will Hunting. Wicked smart. And he was talking about recruiting. How do we find good help? I would recommend going back to that episode and giving that a listen. He's taking much more of a holistic approach to this. You know, it's way more than just putting out a job ad. It's way more than just this tactic. We've got to think more strategically about how to make our business very attractive for people to come to. One little line that he used that stuck with me over the last week is, people don't change jobs, they change leadership. You know, that lead carpenter, he's not going to not be a lead carpenter. He's not changing jobs, quote unquote. He's changing leadership. You know, how do we let people know what our leadership is like, who their boss is going to be, who's going to be managing, about the owner of the business? You know, how do we make that very clear as another avenue of why people might feel comfortable switching jobs and moving over? That's just one of a ton of nuggets that he shared. But I've seen in the last couple weeks 3 examples from clients of mine who have signed on a new employee. And anytime one of my clients, when I'm on a one-on-one call and they say, I hired a new lead carpenter, most of my clients sound like that, by the way. They sound like this. At least that's my impersonation of them. I apologize if you're a client listening to this. You don't actually sound like that. But I need to give entertainment along with the information. That way you guys enjoy this show while you're eating your lunch. But whenever they say it, my next immediate question is, where do they come from? How'd you find them? I hear a lot of times, wow, they were referred from one of our existing employees. Ooh, I love those. Those usually turn out pretty good. You know, I was a former employee. I kind of moved on years ago and he's come back, you know, or it was from an Indeed ad, or it was from ZipRecruiter, or it was from a Craigslist, or it was a referral from one of our strategic partners. A lot of different ways. But in 3 examples over the last couple weeks, those 3 hires were people who were running their own remodeling business that wanted to join forces with an existing established company. People are stressed out there, right? These guys were sick of working their faces off, getting to the end of the day and still having designs to do and estimates to do and invoices to send out. They're weary from that and they're like, you know what? Sounds amazing just to get a job, get paid solid, and just be able to do the thing that I really love to do. So keep that in mind as you are hanging around, you know, the hardware store or Home Depot, or you're out and about and you see people. As you think of your network of people who, you know, that guy did a little bit of work for me as a trade partner a couple of years ago. I wonder how he's doing. You know, in one example, they didn't reach out to this person that one of the guys on the team knew because, well, he's busy. I'm sure he doesn't have any capacity to take on any additional work. They call him, and the guy on the other end of the line is somebody that's going, you know what? I'm really fed up with kind of running my gig. I've been thinking about joining a team. Would you guys be interested in that? They were calling him as a potential trade partner to sub some work out to, and he ended up being their new employee. So we got to be active. So that's one area of recruiting that maybe you kind of lean into that a little bit. Maybe you kind of keep your eye out for those types of folks who might be ready to join forces and sign on with you. And I think the other thing there is continue to think strategically. Go back and listen to that one from last Tuesday with Ryan England. You'll get a lot of tips related to that. Okay. Anybody have any comments? I asked the viewers who were watching if you guys could click the like button so I could see you there, and not a single one of you did it. That wasn't very nice of you guys. Kyle, you're really bossy today. Yeah, I am. Anybody have any comments or even some takeaways so far? Oh, Bailey did it, but she's paid to do that. Okay. Next one up. Which one do I want to go with next? Oh, you know, I received yesterday final approval and documents related to refinancing our house. This beautiful house here. Our rate was already pretty good, but rates are super low right now. So if you, and you know where I found that out? Tess Whitler, friend and colleague of mine. Tess is somebody who does a lot of copywriting and writing for Remodelers, and just been a longtime friend and colleague. I saw her make a post about her and her husband refinancing. I thought, maybe I should look into that. Man, rates are stinking low, and so I just bring that up in case it's something you haven't looked at. Might be worth looking at it. Secondly, related to that, let's talk about debt. Debt's bad. We want to squash debt. Debt is not your friend. Yeah, but Kyle, I can leverage my debt and be better off. Okay, fair enough. There might be some times where debt makes sense. But consumer debt, credit card debt, auto debt, line of credit debt, I don't like those, and nor should you. And the more you get fed up with it and the more you want to attack it and you want to rid your life from it, the healthier you're going to be financially. I sound very much Dave Ramsey-ish here. And it's because I'm wanting to sound Dave Ramsey-ish here. I don't want you to refinance by taking a bunch of your debt and piling it onto your mortgage. Maybe there's a time and a place for that sometimes, but we got to stop. We got to stop using credit cards. We got to stop doing that. We got to save up. We got to, build a healthy balance sheet. So just a reminder there. A lot of times as a remodeling business owner, the way that you start to do that, the way you get ahead financially, the way that you squash your debt and build up a solid 3 to 6 month reserve of expenses into your business. If you're doing $1 million of revenue, I'd love to see $100,000 in your business bank account. If you're doing 2 million, I like to see around 200. There's not a hard and fast rule, but I like that. You know how you start to do that and make traction on that? You stinking know your numbers. And you start charging what you need to charge. You understand why and how you calculate your markup. You start improving your sales process so you can sell the work at the higher markup. You start being borderline obsessed with your job costing so that you can see this is the gross profit I was expecting. This is what it actually came in at. And you get really clear with that. You improve your estimating, you improve your project management. Your team is paying attention to the hours that are available on that project, and we're hitting our hours more often. That's how you dig out of that. There's no magic bullet to it. It's about starting to do some behaviors that allows you to get ahead financially. And it's doable. And it also sometimes takes a little bit more time than you'd like. Sometimes we make progress on those things, and then we look back and we're like, well, I made progress, but I didn't make as much progress as I would have liked. Stop it. Realize that progress going forward is progress, and just continue to do the behaviors and the things necessary to continue to improve it. There's just a little rant that I had for you guys. I hope that it sparks something there. Hi, Heather. I saw another like there. Okay, so there's that. And what else do we got? I'm doing a webinar at 1 o'clock today. So I'm going to be wrapping up at 12:29 because then I got to take my computer and I got to head to my office because there's going to be a conglomerate of children and my wife who are going to come home just about the time that I'm in the middle of the webinar. And we don't want that in disruption. I bet you Bailey, my marketing director and employee extraordinaire, is going to put a link to today's webinar in case you wanted to join for that. Rockin'. Okay. What else is on your mind? What else is on people's minds? Man, saying thank you to your team. We don't do that enough. Always be recruiting trade partners. I don't like the thought of you only having one electrician, one plumber, one drywall company. I think it's really healthy to have established long-term relationships. I think it's also really healthy to always have 10% of that work going to somebody else. And that means you're always recruiting. You're always paying attention to new businesses that you see pop up. You might go to the Home Builder Association and get a little bit of a list of contractors and just make 1 or 2 calls a week. Hey, I don't necessarily have anything exactly for you, but I'm always looking to add to our network of folks that might be able to help on our projects, and just wondering if you wanted to get to know each other a little bit and talk about what you guys do and how you might be able to help us and our clients. That needs to happen consistently. So there's a thought for you there. There's the little comment related to registering for today's webinar. Cool. What There's a couple other topics that are on my mind right now. You should get some Google reviews. And I just got a text through from somebody that reminded me of that. If you go to your previous clients, let's just think of one previous client that you love, and you send them a text message that says, "Can you do me a favor?" Question mark. Send. Nothing more. Can you do me a favor? Question mark. Send. That's all. That's all you need to do. They will respond back because they're kind of intrigued. And you say, "Oh, thank you so much. This month, I'm trying to secure a few new Google reviews, and I was wondering if you could leave a Google review for me. Here's the link to it." There's a much higher percentage chance that that person is going to do that for you. It's just a little tactic, a little approach. Why are Google reviews important? Because when I look up your business, if I'm a referral, if I'm even searching keyword kitchen remodeling, Brighton, Michigan, your city and state, Google reviews are incredibly important for search engine optimization. People see them, they spider out in a lot of different places on the interweb. And a lot of you only have a couple. You're one knucklehead away from giving you a 1 star, where when I search your business, I'm kind of like, they don't look like a very established business. I mean, those 2 people said nice things about them, but this person didn't. We want to have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 Google reviews. I've got a client down south who has not touched their website 1 iota in the last 15 months, but they have put concerted effort into getting about 20, 22 new Google reviews. They've gone from getting no online leads to having a consistent stream of online leads. Are Google reviews the only thing you need to be doing related to your website? No, but it's a super interesting little case study. They haven't touched anything else other than really established their Google reviews and their Google listing, and they're seeing nice, steady, consistent leads. They're ranking better. They're being found better. So I'm going to leave you with that little tidbit. Let's go get some Google reviews, please. Cool. So we touched on a variety of topics today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. The point of us doing this is so that you have just a little bit of a steady stream of new ideas. Hopefully something kind of grabbed your attention. Pick one of them and work to implement it. Give yourself a deadline. We all work so much better when we have deadlines. Say by next Friday at 2:00 p.m., I will have secured a Google review, or I have reached out to 2 clients related to Google reviews. By February 9th, 2021 at 5:00 p.m., well, first, I will have wished Kyle a happy birthday that day because it's his birthday. But secondly, I will create that list of all of the tasks that I do so that I can identify some $10 work that I'm going to hand off. Okay. Lastly, on that deadline topic, if you have somebody that you told you'd get back to and you said, "I'll get back to you next week. I'll get back to you at the end of the week." Stop saying things like next week and end of the week or soon. Because you and I both know that the majority of the time you blow past that quote unquote deadline because it's not a very good deadline. When you have a next step with a client or a prospect, book an actual date and time that you're going to have a Zoom call with them, that you're going to have a phone call with them, that you're going to have an in-person meeting. Give yourself a self-imposed deadline. It stinking works. It works really well. I'll leave you with that. I hope you got a nugget today that was helpful. Much love to you all. Have a wonderful day. See ya.